You know, a lot of times there's a lot of players that have questions about how to do this or how can they do that, and I think that coaches, are most of them are pretty willing and they want to help you in any way they can. And a lot of times it's just because they don't know unless you ask the question, and I think they'll be more than willing to help you. Um, Whether it's with school or with football or whatever sport, just working out or how you can better yourself um, in the sport that you're playing. Um, I guess have the courage. I know for me, growing up even for myself, is difficult to really talk to the coaches. Um, Not so much the coaches, I guess more so it was just myself and my personality. I just kind of didn't want to ask too many questions, I guess. But I think asking a lot of questions is better than asking no questions and trying to figure out everything. Because it's a totally different world out there, and if you don't have other people, and not everyone has someone that's been through the experience before that can help coach them up. And so if you're one of those people, don't be afraid to ask questions, because it will really help you out. If you're
Ask and you shall receive.
ask and you shall receive. Exactly.
Hello, I'm Joshua Rice, and I want to talk to you a little bit about what to expect on an official or unofficial visit. More specifically, I know it sounds silly, but what to wear. You want to be able to make a good first impression on a coach. You don't want to look sloppy or look bad. So what I recommend is wearing, a nice shirt, maybe a polo shirt and khaki pants, and something real comfortable, but also something you'll look nice in, because if you want to be confident when you're talking to coaches, and if you look confident, you'll feel confident, and then you'll come off as confident. And first impressions is a big thing about making connections with people, especially if you're talking to somebody like a coach you want to make a good impression on. So I know it sounds silly, but definitely dressing nice on a visit, talking to a coach, is very important. It's a little bit flexible depending on where you go. For instance, I went to Hawaii, and because of the culture and the climate and everywhere, I wore khaki shorts and a polo shirt with slippers, which was perfectly acceptable, but I still looked presentable. So just something you want to keep in mind when you're talking to coaches and making your visits to different colleges.
Another thing going into college, education-wise, is to go into a degree, that'll be good for you. Something that you like, something that you enjoy, but also something that you can see yourself doing in the future. Like a lot of college athletes go into school thinking, oh, I'm just going to play football, and they don't have a backup plan. So when their football career is done, they're stuck with nothing. They don't have a degree, they haven't finished, or they're going into something that's pretty much they can't do anything with it. So my advice would be, coming out of high school, going into college, make sure your degree is applicable and it's something that you want to do, and make sure it's a good backup plan for you. Just in, if you're finished with football at the end of your career, it's something that'll work out for you, something that'll be good for you in your future. If there's one thing that I would have done differently, in high school while being recruited, was I wouldn't have gave a verbal commitment so early, because when you do that, some teams tend to back off. Some schools tend to pull out. Like if they're offering you, they won't anymore. They'll look at somebody else. So that's one thing I would have done differently, is not commit so early.